And so we see here the second one, where in verse 5 it says, some fell on stony ground where it did not have much earth. Immediately it sprang up because it had no depth of earth. But when the sun was up, it was scorched because it had no root when it withered away. And we see the same thing in verse 16 and verse 17. He says, likewise, these are the ones sown on stony ground, that when they hear the word, immediately they receive it with gladness. You understand? There's this initial excitement about the word. And then it says this, yet they have no root in themselves. And so we see, and so endure only for a little time, and afterwards when tribulation or persecution arises for the word's sake, immediately they stumble. Too often what happens is this, that there is the word of God, but the word of God does what? When a trial comes, the belief is gone. Remember the children of Israel? All of a sudden, God does all of these plagues. They are released from Egypt, and then he brings them over to the promised land. And you've already conquered Egypt, and he brings you to the promised land, and they go, what? These guys are big. You understand? A trial. All of a sudden, now they're by the Red Sea. Oh, now we got problems. And so we see here that initially there's this initial belief. You believe the word of God. You begin to grow. It begins to look green. But what happens is this. We begin to see that they cannot endure trials. Let's put it this way. The depth would be considered endurance. If you do not have the depth, you don't have the endurance. In other words, you can go a little bit, but you can't go far. And immediately keep in mind that I want you to recognize the enemy's never going to give you freedom. Say, oh, you want the word of God? Just let it bear fruit. The enemy's not going to do that. He's going to put all these roadblocks in your way. And you're either going to do what? You're going to believe the word, or you're going to believe the lies of the enemy. Because all of a sudden God says what? Hey, I've got a plan for you, and it's a great plan. And you're going to be just blown away with just this, what I'm going to do in your life. And he's going to speak these words of life. He's going to speak these words of power. But we see here that it says that they have no root in themselves. And I think what happens is this, that they can't handle, some people can't handle trials at all, but other people can't handle the longevity of trials. See, I can handle a short trial. I'm good with that. I can do, give me a couple days, give me a week, I can do that. But when trials start going into months and years, and then it becomes, now this is going to be my life. At that point, where is the depth? Where is the endurance? Is God still good?